chaos, controversy, and career frustration. What really happened during Sunday's Goodyear 400 at Darlington? There was a single moment in Stage 2 that caused ripple effects to spread throughout the whole field, causing strategy to be flipped and outcomes to be altered in a manner that is rekindling debates over the officiating standards used by NASCAR. How come a spin was not referred to as a caution? Why did a lug nut that was loose finally cause one to be triggered instead? What about the drivers who were forced to pay the price for NASCAR's reluctance? This was a fortunate turn of events for Denny Hamlin. It turned out to be a catastrophe for Erik Jones. And for Brad Keselowski, it turned out to be the most recent chapter in a chain of inconsistencies that was growing stronger. The drivers and fans are beginning to voice their opinions, and a pattern is beginning to emerge. Are the judgments made by NASCAR becoming too subjective? Is the timing being determined more by the individuals involved than by the actual events that take place on the track? It's not just a problem with one race, it's a storm that's going to last the entire season. Despite the fact that he has not yet achieved his first top 10 finish in 2025, Keselowski has been vociferous in his criticism of double standards. In the meantime, the race control team at NASCAR is coming under increasing pressure to provide an explanation for when and why it raises the yellow flag. Should the protocols for officiating be reset at this point in time? On the other hand, has the boundary between fair play and favoritism already been compromised? One of the more contentious moments that occurred during the Goodyear 400 that took place at Darlington Raceway on Sunday was when Stage 2 was halfway through. Due to the fact that Brad Keselowski spun out on his own, NASCAR did not immediately issue a caution. While avoiding contact, Keselowski was able to save it. On the other hand, the problem was that a lug nut accidentally flew off of one of his wheels. It was necessary for NASCAR to deploy the caution flag for debris during a period of time when pit stops were being conducted under the green flag. Many teams' races were altered as a result of this, with some changing for the better and others for the worst. According to Denny Hamlin, who was interviewed for the Actions Detrimental podcast on Monday, NASCAR was forced to exercise prudence. That was right in the middle of a pit sequence, which that's essentially what flipped the field upside down. It went from where I was running in the teens to now, I'm in the top 5, Hamlin said. I was surprised they didn't throw the caution when he spun out. Usually, a spin out has always been a caution at Darlington. The sensitivity of it was, NASCAR was trying not to get involved in throwing an ill-timed caution that was going to turn the field upside down, but they couldn't ignore the lug nut that was on the track. If you run over that, not only is it going to damage someone's car, that thing could get kicked up anywhere. Erik Jones, on the other hand, was one of the most significant, unfortunate victims of the moment. During the warning call, he was observed in the act of entering pit road just as it was closing. After finishing 17th, Jones, who had been racing third during the pit cycle, was furious. He had been running third. "What the hell are we doing, NASCAR? What the F are we doing? A car wrecked and we don't throw it. Limping around and now there's nothing out here," Jones said over his radio. At the end of the day, everything turned out well for Hamlin. He was able to get himself to the front of the pack late in the race, and his pit crew decided to put him in first place for the restart in overtime. With this victory, Hamlin won his second race in a row and the 56th race of his career in the Cup Series. But the scandal did not end with the festivities that took place after the race. A day later, Brad Keselowski, the driver who had accidentally prompted the caution, added gasoline to the flames by making the situation much worse. Keselowski leveled criticism at NASCAR on Tuesday, stating that the organization's judgments regarding when to raise the caution flag are inconsistent. In response to a fan who criticized NASCAR for not issuing a yellow flag for Keselowski, the experienced driver of the Cup Series took to X Twitter to express his feelings. "It doesn't bother me when yellows don't get thrown for me, or I get penalties that are questionable," Keselowski wrote. "It makes me mad as hell when it's not the same for others, which has been the case too many times over the last few years." A other fan had previously criticized NASCAR for failing to issue a caution while Brad Keselowski was driving with a loose wheel in the center of the track. This fan was replying to that fan's criticism. Fans demonstrated their support for Keselowski when he responded to their questions. "I'm tired of it," one fan wrote. I was in the stands in 2022 when you blew an RF and no caution. Then shortly after the 20 blows, 1 and 0, immediately a caution. So damn inconsistent. Another added, "Preach. I tweeted as soon as it happened Sunday and there was no yellow." Had it been one of their golden boys, they wouldn't have wasted any time throwing the yellow. Not the first time either. Keselowski and the number 6 team have had a difficult beginning to the season, as they have not yet won a race or finished in the top 10 of any of the competitions thus far. At Darlington on Sunday, Keselowski finished 33rd after experiencing a situation in which one of his wheels became off. "Yeah, had a great car today. Felt like we had one of the better cars on the long run," said crew chief Jeremy Bullins. "Just had an unfortunate deal on a pit stop with not getting the right rear tight, and the wheel nut came off. It cost us a couple of laps, and got one of them back. Just couldn't get in the right situation to get the others back." At the same time that Darlington provided us with yet another reminder of how razor-thin the line is between strategy and tragedy, he also demonstrated how decisions regarding race control can instantly shift the balance of power. Everything changed for Denny Hamlin when he received a warning at the right moment. A podium finish was eliminated for Eric Jones as a result of this. And for Brad Keselowski, it turned out to be the defining moment in a season that was already fraught with frustration. Something that is more significant than a flying lug nut is at the center of the situation, and that is consistency. As a result of NASCAR's reluctance to instantly throw caution to the wind after Keselowski's spin, as well as their decision to wait to respond until debris forced them to do so, questions that have been outstanding for years have been brought back to the forefront. Why does the timing of a yellow flag feel like it's a decision that needs to be made so frequently? And why is it that fans and drivers are increasingly of the opinion that certain drivers are treated differently than others? The statements made by Keselowski touched a nerve not just because to the fact that he appears to be frustrated, but also due to the fact that they are widely disseminated. In certain instances, such as the race that he referenced in 2022, fans remember particular instances in which comparable accidents were treated drastically differently depending on the driver that was involved. This lack of consistency affects faith in the officiating of NASCAR, which is especially problematic when so much depends on a single call. The NASCAR Racing Series will have to tackle this issue head-on as the season progresses. It is possible that any appearance of partiality or unpredictability in officiating might completely eclipse the spectacular on-track clashes that we are witnessing. This is because there are numerous teams competing, and there is parity across the grid. As a result, what are the next steps for the sport? A more stringent and automatic set of criteria for caution flags should be implemented by NASCAR in order to eliminate any gray spots.